Hello everyone! Welcome to the Motion Spark channel. Today we're going to learn step by step how to create this incredibly dynamic fake 3D box animation in After Effects without using any plugins. Let's get started. Our first step is preparing the box pieces in Adobe Illustrator. As you can see, I've drawn each surface of the box, the top, bottom, and side flaps, on separate layers. This is critical so we can apply independent 3D rotations in After Effects. Once preparation is complete, we simply save the file to the desktop. Now we jump over to After Effects. When importing our Illustrator file, please ensure you select Composition and Retain Layer Sizes from the options. This will ensure each box piece comes in at its correct size and as separate layers. Now we simply double-click on our composition to open up the timeline. To make project management easier, let's arrange our box layers in the timeline into the correct order: bottom, sides, and then the flaps. A tidy workspace prevents animation errors later on. Now we select all layers using Ctrl+A and click on the three D-box icons in the timeline to convert them into 3D layers. Here is the most critical point. To get the correct 3D transformation, we adjust each layer's anchor point, or its hinge, to the edge around which we want it to rotate. This ensures the flap or side opens and closes realistically. Now we open the rotation settings using the R shortcut and rotate the selected layer by 90 degrees on the correct axis to form the box shape. Since we adjusted the anchor point correctly, the layer will hinge easily into place. As you can see, we align all the remaining side surfaces and flaps using the same logic: correct anchor point and rotation. Using the position setting is crucial for ensuring the layers snap perfectly together. Since this process is repetitive, I'm speeding up the screen to 2 times faster. This way, you see all the details without getting bored. Now, to add a professional touch to our scene and enable us to move around our box, we add a new camera via the Layer menu. The camera will allow us to visualize the box's 3D depth. To move and control all parts of the box from a single center point, we create a null object. Let's name it Box Controller. This is a life-saving method when dealing with complex animations. For perfect control, we must place the null object we created right at the center of our box, using the Align tool. This ensures the box rotates smoothly on its own axis. Since our null object will be controlling our 3D objects, let's convert it to a 3D layer as well. Now, for flawless alignment, we change View 1 to 2 views. This second workspace allows us to see the exact center of the box from the side and top angles in 3D space, enabling us to place the null object precisely in the middle. Now we select all the box parts, flaps, sides, bottom, and parent them to our box controller null object using the Parent Link tool. This ensures that when we move the null object, the entire box moves as a single unit. Now we open the scale settings using the S shortcut and reduce the size of our box via the null object so it fits the scene. Since all the pieces are parented, the scaling happens with a single click. Now, we quickly switch over to the composition, where our car animation is located. With the null object selected, we press the U key to display all existing keyframes. This will give us a clear view of the initial adjustments we've made. Now we take our box composition and place it inside the main car composition. We zoom in and carefully position the box right on top of the car's rear section. Most importantly, we parent link the box layer to the car layer. This ensures the box moves along with the car until the jump sequence begins. Now we locate the exact frame where the car's animation comes to a stop. At this point, we split the box layer into 2 using the Ctrl+Shift+D shortcut for split layer. We immediately set the parent link of the second layer to none. Finally, we ensure the 3D box icon is active for this layer. Now we are independent and ready to animate the jump and rotation. Let's switch to the box composition. With the null object selected, we open the position settings using the P key and set a starting keyframe. We move 20 frames forward and move the box up to set the jump's peak. Another 20 frames forward, we set the landing position where the box will stop. Now for the bounce effect. 15 frames later, we slightly pull the box up, and after 5 more frames, we copy and paste the initial landing keyframe to the end, completing the animation. Now, let's bring our animation to life. We select all keyframes and apply Easy Ease using F9 to smooth out the motion. But that's not enough. We open the graph editor to fine-tune the velocity curves. By steepening the curve at the launch, we ensure a fast liftoff. And by steepening the curve at the landing, we give it a hard impact feel. This precise adjustment in the graph editor makes our animation feel physically weighted and realistic. Now we open the rotation settings using Shift+R and start setting rotation keyframes on the Y-axis. We set a starting keyframe synchronized with the moment the box jumps. Moving 3 to 5 frames forward from where it stops, we rotate the box for 1 full turn. Afterward, for a realistic settling shake, we set 1 more small rotation keyframe to define the final position. After applying Easy Ease to all these rotation keyframes, we go back to the graph editor and adjust the curve, ensuring the rotation starts fast and ends fast to match the momentum. Now, the moment the box hits the ground, the flaps need to fly open. Since this process is repetitive for each flap using the rotation setting, I am speeding up the visual flow. The rule is simple. On the frame where the box lands, we set the closed position, first keyframe, and within the next few frames, we set the open position. Because our anchor points are correctly placed, each flap will open realistically on its own hinge. Don't forget to apply Easy Ease to all these flap keyframes afterward. Let's go to the final composition and check the result. I think the box's final landing position is slightly too high. We quickly head back to the box composition and select the final keyframes of the null object, pulling the box down by a few pixels. Remember, these fine-tuning adjustments are crucial for making the animation look flawless. Excellent! Let's check it one more time. Yes, that is much better now. The weight and bounce we achieved, especially thanks to the graph editor work, truly pushed this animation to the next level. To make our animation more dynamic and realistic, we apply the CC Bend It effect from the Effects and Presets panel to our box layer. This effect will visualize the impact when the box lands by allowing it to slightly bend and squash left and right. We carefully adjust the effect's bend setting, synchronizing it perfectly with our bounce keyframes from the landing sequence. To add realism to our animation, we're going to manually add drop shadows as the flaps open. Inside the box composition, we select a flap layer and duplicate it. After pressing U to reveal keyframes, we adjust the rotation keyframes of the shadow layer to set the shadow direction. Now, apply the fill effect to this layer and set the color to black. After increasing the layer's size slightly to stretch the shadow, we change the layer's mode to multiply and reduce the opacity using the T key to achieve a soft shadow look. Let's check our shadow. When we make the background transparent, yes, we can see the shadow spilling outside the box. To fix this, we'll use the track matte technique. We duplicate one of the box side layers and place it directly above our shadow layer. Then, we apply a track matte to the shadow layer, using this duplicated side layer as the mask. This cleverly confines the shadow to appear only within the box's boundaries. A perfect fix! Now we apply the exact same process to the remaining flap layers. I'm speeding up this section for the sake of video flow. Remember, while I only demonstrate this on 2 flaps for the tutorial, you should repeat this process for all your flaps to enhance the quality of your final animation. We're heading back to our main composition. And there you have it! Our animation looks great and smooth. Of course, working with more detail means higher quality results. As a final step, let's add a ground shadow for when our box lands. We draw a black circle using the ellipse tool. We immediately make the shadow layer 3D and rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis to lay it flat on the ground. We position and scale it to fit directly under the box and place the layer beneath the box layer. To soften the shadow edges, we apply the fast box blur effect. We set the blur dimensions to horizontal and increase the blur radius to get a softer, more natural shadow edge. We use the opacity setting to ensure the shadow only appears the moment the box lands. Select the shadow layer and press the T key to open opacity. First, locate the impact frame where the box hits the ground. Go back a few frames from that point, set the opacity to 0% and set the first keyframe. The exact moment the box hits the ground, rapidly increase the opacity value to 100%. This will make the shadow softly fade in as the box lands and remain visible in the scene permanently. And that's it! To make our animation look even smoother, our final step is to activate motion blur for all moving layers and also enable motion blur at the composition level. As you've seen, we successfully completed this detailed 3D box animation entirely using After Effects' native tools, without relying on any external plugins. I truly hope this tutorial has been useful and inspiring for you. If you enjoyed the video and want to be immediately notified about the next tutorial series, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next detailed tutorial. Goodbye!